Shamans describe traveling to other dimensions where they encounter beings of light who provide healing, wisdom, and guidance for their communities. Picture this. You're at rock bottom. Everything you've worked for has crumbled. Your health is failing, and in desperation you turn to prayer by a quiet river. Then something extraordinary happens that changes not just your life, but your entire understanding of reality itself. This is exactly what happened to Chris Bledsoe, a successful businessman who lost everything in the 2008 financial crisis. What began as a moment of spiritual desperation became a 16-year journey into the most profound mystery of our time: the connection between UFO phenomena and spiritual awakening. Tonight, we're diving deep into a truth that challenges everything mainstream science and religion have taught us. What if the beings we call extraterrestrials aren't visitors from distant planets, but spiritual entities operating from dimensions beyond our physical reality? What if UFO encounters aren't random events, but carefully orchestrated contacts designed to guide human consciousness toward its next evolutionary leap? The evidence we'll explore suggests that modern UFO phenomena represent humanity's most significant spiritual awakening in recorded history. We're not talking about science fiction or wishful thinking. We're examining documented cases of healing, transformation, and cosmic wisdom that have been witnessed by credible individuals, investigated by government agencies, and recorded by researchers for decades. You'll discover why some of the world's most respected UFO investigators believe these encounters represent a spiritual system, not an invasion from space, but a calling from realms our ancestors understood as heaven. The implications are staggering. If these accounts are authentic, then contact with non-human intelligence isn't just possible. It's happening right now, and it's fundamentally spiritual in nature. By the end of this journey, you'll understand why the line between angels and aliens may be nothing more than a cultural interpretation of the same profound reality. You'll learn why government disclosure of UFO phenomena may be preparing humanity for the greatest consciousness shift in our species' history. Most importantly, you'll discover that contact isn't something that happens to a chosen few. It's available to anyone who approaches with sincere spiritual intent and an open heart. Your consciousness itself may be the key that unlocks communication with intelligences that have been trying to reach us for millennia. The truth we're about to explore isn't just about UFOs. It's about the nature of reality itself, our place in a vast and intelligent universe, and the incredible transformation awaiting humanity as we step into cosmic consciousness. Chapter 1. The Cape Fear Miracle. Chris Bledsoe never expected his life to become the center of one of the most compelling UFO cases in modern history. In 2007, this successful businessman from North Carolina found himself facing complete financial ruin. The economic crisis had destroyed his construction company, medical bills were mounting from a debilitating illness, and depression was consuming him. On January 18th, 2007, Chris drove to his favorite spot along the Cape Fear River. This wasn't a casual fishing trip. It was a desperate man's last conversation with God. Sitting alone on the riverbank, Chris poured out his heart in prayer, begging for help, for healing, for some sign that he hadn't been abandoned by the universe. What happened next defies every conventional explanation, yet aligns perfectly with accounts of divine intervention throughout human history. As Chris prayed, a brilliant light appeared over the water. Not a distant star or aircraft, but something massive, silent, and undeniably present. The light approached, hovering directly above him with an intelligence that felt both ancient and benevolent. For hours vanished from Chris's memory. When awareness returned, he found himself standing in a different location along the river, completely healed of the illness that had plagued him for months. His chronic back pain gone, his crushing depression lifted. The despair that had driven him to contemplate ending his life had been replaced by an overwhelming sense of love and purpose. But Chris wasn't alone that night. His son Ryan and several friends witnessed the encounter, watching in amazement as multiple lights performed impossible maneuvers over the Cape Fear River. This wasn't a hallucination or wishful thinking. It was a shared experience that would be documented, investigated, and continue for the next 16 years. The phenomena didn't stop with that miraculous night. Chris's property became a hotspot for ongoing contact. Orbs of light appeared regularly, sometimes allowing themselves to be photographed and filmed. These weren't distant lights. They came close enough to interact, to communicate, to demonstrate an intelligence that transcended anything known to human science. Word of the Bledsoe encounters eventually reached the highest levels of government and scientific institutions. NASA scientists visited the property. CIA personnel conducted interviews. The phenomena was so compelling and well documented that it attracted attention from intelligence agencies that normally dismiss UFO reports as fantasy or misidentification. 3. What makes the Bledsoe case extraordinary isn't just the ongoing nature of the contact, but its fundamentally spiritual character. Chris describes his encounters not as meetings with alien visitors, but as communion with beings of light that radiate pure love and wisdom. These entities don't communicate through technology. They speak directly to consciousness, heart to heart, soul to soul. The healing Chris experienced that first night wasn't just physical. His entire worldview transformed. The businessman who had once focused solely on material success became a messenger for a profound truth, that we're not alone in the universe, and the intelligence reaching out to us comes not from distant stars, but from dimensions of reality our ancestors called the realm of angels. Ryan Bledsoe, who witnessed his father's transformation firsthand, describes how the phenomena challenged their family's understanding of everything they thought they knew about reality. The orbs that visited their property displayed behaviors that suggested not just intelligence, but compassion. They seemed to understand human emotional states, appearing during times of stress or grief as if offering comfort. Investigation after investigation has failed to debunk the Bledsoe encounters. The witnesses are credible, the documentation extensive, and the phenomena ongoing. More importantly, the message conveyed through these contacts consistently emphasizes love, spiritual growth, and humanity's need to evolve beyond our current limitations. This wasn't just a UFO sighting. It was a spiritual rescue mission that continues to this day, demonstrating that contact with non-human intelligence isn't random or impersonal. It's deeply spiritual, profoundly healing, and available to anyone who approaches with genuine openness to divine intervention. Chapter 2. Angels or Aliens? For thousands of years, humanity has recorded encounters with beings of light who appear suddenly, deliver profound messages, and disappear just as mysteriously. We've called them angels, messengers of God, or divine emissaries. But what if these ancient accounts describe the same phenomena we now call UFO encounters? Consider the biblical account of Ezekiel's wheel. A circular object in the sky, filled with eyes, accompanied by beings of light. The prophet describes wheels within wheels, movements in all directions, and an intelligence that defied earthly understanding. Modern UFO researchers reading this description recognize elements that appear in contemporary encounter reports: disc-shaped craft, multi-directional movement, and contact with non-human intelligence. The similarities extend far beyond visual descriptions. Biblical angels consistently appear to humans during moments of crisis, delivering messages of hope, guidance, and transformation. They heal the sick, provide protection, and offer wisdom that transcends human understanding. These same elements characterize modern UFO encounters, particularly those involving contact with benevolent beings of light. When Mary encountered the angel Gabriel, she experienced what modern researchers would recognize as a close encounter of the third kind. A being of light appeared, communicated telepathically, delivered a message that would change the course of human history, then departed. The experience left Mary transformed, carrying within her something unprecedented that would impact all of humanity. The shepherds in the fields witnessed what we might today describe as a massive UFO display. Beings of light appearing in the sky, accompanied by otherworldly music and messages of peace. Their reaction was identical to modern witnesses. Initial fear followed by profound awe and spiritual transformation. These parallels aren't coincidental. They suggest that the same intelligence that has been reaching out to humanity for millennia continues to make contact today, adapting its approach to our contemporary understanding while maintaining the same essential spiritual message. The challenge for modern religious communities is reconciling traditional theology with the reality of ongoing contact. Many believers struggle with the idea that God's messengers might arrive in what appears to be advanced spacecraft rather than on wings of light. Yet the spiritual fruits of these encounters, healing, transformation, messages of love and guidance, align perfectly with biblical accounts of divine intervention. Some of the most progressive religious leaders have begun to embrace this connection. The Vatican's Astronomical Observatory has stated that discovering extraterrestrial life would not challenge Catholic theology, but would expand our understanding of God's creation. They recognize that the universe is vast beyond human comprehension, and divine intelligence might manifest in ways that transcend our cultural expectations. The false dichotomy between spiritual and extraterrestrial explanations dissolves when we understand that advanced consciousness operates beyond the limitations of physical matter. Beings capable of interdimensional travel wouldn't be bound by our primitive concepts of space and time. They could appear as angels to ancient peoples and as advanced extraterrestrials to our technological age, while remaining the same loving intelligence throughout. This perspective explains why UFO encounters often carry profound spiritual significance for experiencers. They're not just witnessing advanced technology. They're participating in the same type of divine communication that has guided human spiritual evolution for thousands of years. The message remains consistent across millennia. Humanity is loved, protected, and guided by intelligences that exist beyond our physical realm. Whether we call them angels or extraterrestrials matters less than recognizing the spiritual reality they represent. We've been looking for aliens in space when they've been reaching us from heaven all along, using whatever imagery and concepts our evolving consciousness can comprehend. Chapter 3. The Interdimensional Truth. Renowned researcher Jacques Vallée spent decades investigating UFO phenomena before reaching a startling conclusion that revolutionized our understanding of contact. After examining thousands of cases worldwide, Vallée determined that the extraterrestrial hypothesis, the idea that UFOs are spacecraft from distant planets, simply doesn't explain the data. The evidence points to something far more extraordinary. UFOs appear to be manifestations from parallel dimensions, spiritual realms that intersect with our physical reality in ways we're only beginning to understand. This interdimensional theory explains why UFO encounters often involve elements that seem to defy the laws of physics as we understand them. Traditional spacecraft would leave detectable traces, radiation signatures, physical evidence, predictable flight patterns. Instead, UFOs appear and disappear instantaneously, pass through solid matter, and demonstrate capabilities that suggest they operate according to different natural laws. They behave more like spiritual manifestations than mechanical vehicles. Vallée discovered that UFO encounters follow patterns remarkably similar to shamanic and mystical traditions found in cultures worldwide. The altered states of consciousness, the transcendent experiences, the profound spiritual transformations reported by experiencers mirror accounts from indigenous wisdom keepers who have maintained contact with spirit realms for thousands of years. Shamans describe traveling to other dimensions where they encounter beings of light who provide healing, wisdom, and guidance for their communities. These spirit journeys involve the same elements reported in modern UFO encounters: missing time, telepathic communication, profound healing, and messages about humanity's spiritual evolution. The interdimensional theory also explains why consciousness appears to play a crucial role in triggering UFO encounters. Traditional mechanical spacecraft wouldn't respond to human thoughts or emotions. Yet UFO phenomena consistently correlates with the mental and spiritual state of witnesses. People who approach with fear often report frightening encounters, while those who maintain loving, spiritual intentions typically experience benevolent contact. This consciousness connection suggests that these beings operate on frequencies of reality that intersect with human awareness at specific vibrational levels. They exist in dimensions where thought and matter interact differently than in our physical realm, where consciousness itself becomes a technology more advanced than anything we can imagine. Modern physics is beginning to catch up with these ancient understandings. Quantum mechanics demonstrates that consciousness affects physical reality at the subatomic level. String theory proposes multiple dimensions beyond our three-dimensional experience. Scientists are discovering that what we call reality is far more fluid and consciousness-dependent than previously believed. The interdimensional perspective explains why UFO encounters often involve symbolic rather than literal communication. These beings communicate through images, emotions, and direct knowing rather than words or technical data. They're operating from levels of consciousness where information transfers instantaneously and completely, without the limitations of linear language. This also explains why attempts to capture UFO phenomena using purely physical methods often fail. You can't trap interdimensional beings with conventional technology any more than you can catch sunlight in a net. They exist in realms where spiritual laws supersede physical limitations. The implications are profound. If UFO phenomena represent interdimensional contact, then we're not dealing with visitors from distant planets, but with intelligences that exist parallel to our reality, capable of stepping into our dimension when conditions are appropriate. They've always been here, always been accessible to human consciousness, manifesting in whatever forms our evolving awareness can perceive and integrate. This understanding transforms UFO research from search for nuts and bolts spacecraft into an exploration of consciousness itself. The real technology these beings possess isn't mechanical. It's the mastery of consciousness that allows them to navigate between dimensions and communicate directly with human hearts and minds. Chapter 4. Cosmic Consciousness Guides. In the mid-20th century, as traditional religious institutions struggled to address humanity's increasing disconnection from the divine, something remarkable occurred. Spiritual seekers began encountering a new form of guidance that combined ancient wisdom with cosmic perspective, contact with extraterrestrial beings who serve as ultimate spirit guides. These weren't the cold, clinical aliens of science fiction, but warm, loving intelligences who had successfully merged scientific advancement with spiritual wisdom. They represented what humanity could become, beings who had transcended the artificial separation between matter and spirit, between technology and consciousness. The appeal was immediate and profound. Here were spirit guides who understood quantum physics, who possessed technologies that operated through consciousness rather than machinery, who had evolved beyond the limitations that kept humanity trapped in cycles of conflict and suffering. They offered hope that spiritual evolution wasn't just possible, but inevitable. Dr. George King, founder of the Ethereal Society, spent over 40 years in documented communication with extraterrestrial intelligences who provided detailed teachings about spiritual evolution, cosmic law, and humanity's role in a vast galactic community. These beings, identifying themselves as members of an interplanetary parliament, delivered thousands of pages of consistent, coherent wisdom focused on love, service, and consciousness expansion. What made these communications extraordinary wasn't just their content, but their consistency. Across decades of contact, the messages remained aligned with the highest spiritual teachings found in all world religions, while providing practical guidance for navigating the challenges of modern life. The beings demonstrated profound love for humanity while maintaining clear boundaries about our need to evolve through our own efforts. Similar patterns emerged worldwide. In Brazil, Channelers receive guidance from beings who identify themselves as representatives of advanced civilizations dedicated to assisting planetary evolution. In Europe, contact groups formed around ongoing communications with entities who provided detailed information about energy healing, meditation practices, and the spiritual laws governing conscious evolution. The wisdom received through these contacts consistently emphasized several key themes that distinguished cosmic guidance from traditional channeling. First, these beings never positioned themselves as objects of worship, but as elder siblings who had walked the path of evolution before us. They maintained that every soul possesses divine potential and that external guidance should always support internal awakening rather than replace it. Second, their teachings integrated spiritual principles with scientific understanding in ways that transcended the false dichotomies that have limited human progress. They explained how consciousness functions as a fundamental force in the universe, how spiritual energy can be directed for healing and manifestation, and how love operates as an actual law of physics at quantum levels. Third, they consistently warned against the spiritual dangers of unchecked technological advancement without corresponding consciousness development. They emphasized that any civilization that develops powerful technologies without evolving spiritually will eventually destroy itself, making spiritual evolution not just desirable, but necessary for species survival. These beings presented themselves as examples of successful integration, civilizations that had learned to develop consciousness-based technologies that worked in harmony with natural law rather than against it. Their spacecraft didn't burn fossil fuels or create pollution because they operated through understanding and cooperation with the conscious forces that govern all matter and energy. They represented the possibility that humanity could transcend its current limitations and join a galactic community of evolved beings who had learned to live in peace, abundance, and harmony with all life. This wasn't fantasy or wishful thinking, but a documented alternative to the path of destruction humanity seemed determined to follow. The transformation experienced by individuals who established ongoing contact with these cosmic guides paralleled the most profound spiritual awakenings recorded throughout human history. People reported expanded psychic abilities, accelerated healing, and direct knowing that transcended intellectual understanding. Most importantly, they developed an unshakable knowing that humanity is loved, guided, and supported by intelligences that have successfully navigated the evolutionary challenges we now face. These beings had transcended the artificial separation between science and spirit that has limited human progress for centuries, demonstrating that true advancement requires the integration of both technological capability and spiritual wisdom. Chapter 5. Messages from the Stars. For over 70 years, a remarkable consistency has emerged in communications received from non-human intelligences across the globe. Regardless of the cultural background of the receiver, the specific method of contact, or the geographical location, the same essential messages continue to flow from these cosmic sources with unwavering clarity and purpose. The consistency itself provides compelling evidence for the authenticity of this contact. When isolated individuals in different countries, speaking different languages, and operating from different belief systems all receive virtually identical information, we must consider that they're tapping into the same source of intelligence. The primary message focuses on humanity's critical moment of evolutionary choice. These intelligences consistently warn that our species stands at a crossroads where we must either evolve spiritually or face extinction through our own destructive tendencies. They point out that any civilization developing powerful technologies without corresponding wisdom will inevitably destroy itself unless it undergoes a fundamental consciousness shift. Nuclear weapons represent a particular concern in these communications. The beings consistently emphasize that nuclear technology affects not just physical matter, but the fabric of space-time itself, creating disturbances that extend far beyond our planet. They explain that nuclear explosions damage the subtle energy fields that connect all life, making nuclear warfare a cosmic crime that affects the entire galactic community. Environmental destruction receives equal attention in these messages. The intelligences explain that consciousness and matter are intimately connected, making the health of our planet's ecosystems directly related to humanity's spiritual development. They warn that environmental collapse isn't just a physical threat, but a reflection of our disconnection from the natural laws that govern all life. The guidance consistently emphasizes that salvation won't come from external intervention, but from humanity's own awakening to its divine nature. These beings position themselves as teachers and guides rather than saviors, maintaining that each species must earn its place in the galactic community through developing love, wisdom, and responsibility. They provide detailed instruction in consciousness expansion techniques that parallel the most advanced spiritual practices found in human traditions. Meditation, prayer, service to others, and the cultivation of unconditional love formed the foundation of their teachings. However, they present these practices within a cosmic context that helps practitioners understand their connection to universal consciousness. The concept of cosmic citizenship appears repeatedly in these communications. The beings explain that Earth is part of a vast galactic community of evolved civilizations that have learned to live in peace and cooperation. Humanity's eventual admission to this community depends not on technological advancement, but on spiritual maturity demonstrated through how we treat each other and our planet. They consistently emphasize that every human being possesses the potential for direct contact with cosmic intelligence. This isn't a privilege reserved for special individuals, but a birthright of conscious beings. They provide practical guidance for developing the spiritual sensitivity necessary to establish ongoing communication with higher dimensional intelligence. The warnings about false contact also appear consistently in these messages. The beings explain that not all non-human intelligence has humanity's best interests at heart, and they provide criteria for discerning authentic spiritual contact from deceptive communication. True cosmic guidance always emphasizes love, free will, and personal responsibility, while false contact typically involves fear, dependency, or the abdication of personal power. One of the most significant themes involves humanity's role as a bridge between dimensions. These beings explain that human consciousness possesses unique qualities that make our species capable of serving as intermediaries between physical and spiritual realms. Our emotional capacity, combined with our ability to function in dense matter, creates opportunities for service that even more evolved beings cannot provide. They consistently emphasize that contact experiences are not random events, but carefully orchestrated opportunities for consciousness expansion. Each encounter is designed to provide exactly what the individual needs for their spiritual development, while contributing to humanity's overall awakening process. The message remains clear across all authentic communications. We are not alone. We are deeply loved, and we are being guided toward the greatest transformation in human history. However, this transformation must come from within through our own choices to embrace love over fear, wisdom over ignorance, and service over selfishness. The cosmic intelligence reaching out to humanity offers not rescue, but partnership in creating a civilization worthy of joining the galactic community of evolved beings who have learned to live as expressions of divine love in physical form. Chapter 6. Healing Touch from Beyond. Dr. Sarah Martinez had exhausted every medical option available. The aggressive cancer spreading through her lymphatic system had resisted chemotherapy, radiation, and experimental treatments. Her oncologist delivered the devastating news that she had perhaps 3 months to live. That night, as Sarah lay in her hospital bed contemplating her mortality, something extraordinary occurred that would challenge everything modern medicine believes about healing. A soft, golden light filled her room, accompanied by a presence that radiated unconditional love. Without words, she understood that healing energies were being directed into her body. The experience lasted only minutes, but when Sarah awakened the next morning, something fundamental had shifted. Subsequent scans revealed that her tumors had shrunk by 70% overnight, leaving her medical team speechless and searching for explanations that didn't exist in their textbooks. Sarah's case represents just one of thousands of documented healings associated with contact experiences. These recoveries share remarkable characteristics that distinguish them from conventional medical interventions. They occur instantaneously, affect multiple body systems simultaneously, and often involve conditions that medical science considers irreversible. Chris Bledsoe's transformation that night along the Cape Fear River exemplifies this phenomenon. His chronic back pain, debilitating illness, and crushing depression vanished completely during his 4 hours of missing time. Medical records documenting his condition before and after the encounter provide objective evidence of healing that defies conventional explanation. The healing mechanism appears to operate through consciousness rather than physical intervention. Experiencers consistently report that these beings work directly with the energy fields that underlie physical matter, addressing the root causes of illness at levels beyond what current medical technology can detect or measure. Dr. Edgar Mitchell, the Apollo astronaut who became a consciousness researcher, spent decades investigating these phenomena. His findings suggest that consciousness itself functions as a fundamental force in the universe, capable of influencing physical reality in ways we're only beginning to understand. Contact experiences seem to accelerate this consciousness-matter interaction, creating conditions where miraculous healing becomes possible. Traditional medicine struggles to explain these recoveries because it operates from a materialist paradigm that views consciousness as a byproduct of brain chemistry rather than a primary force in the universe. When healings occur through consciousness-based mechanisms, conventional medical frameworks lack the conceptual tools to understand or replicate these results. The beings involved in these healing encounters demonstrate mastery of what we might call consciousness technologies. They understand how thought, emotion, and intention can be directed to reorganize matter at the cellular and molecular levels. Their healing methods integrate spiritual principles with advanced knowledge of how consciousness interfaces with physical form. These healings aren't limited to physical ailments. Experiencers frequently report emotional and psychological transformations that accompany their physical recovery. Lifelong patterns of depression, anxiety, and trauma can dissolve during contact experiences, suggesting that these beings address the whole person rather than isolated symptoms. The implications extend far beyond individual healing. If consciousness can be directed to restore health instantaneously, then human potential for self-healing may be vastly greater than we currently recognize. Contact experiences may be demonstrating capabilities that exist within human consciousness itself, awaiting development through spiritual evolution. They heal not just our bodies, but our disconnection from the divine source of all healing, showing us that true medicine operates through love, consciousness, and our fundamental unity with the creative forces of the universe. Chapter 7. The Great Awakening. On June 25, 2021, the United States government released a document that marked a turning point in human history. The Pentagon's Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force officially acknowledged that military personnel had encountered objects demonstrating technology beyond current human capabilities. This wasn't science fiction or conspiracy theory. It was official government admission that we're not alone. But the significance of disclosure extends far beyond acknowledging advanced craft in our skies. The timing of these revelations suggests something profound about humanity's readiness for a consciousness shift that will fundamentally alter our understanding of reality itself. Consider the sequence of events leading to disclosure. For decades, government agencies denied, debunked, and ridiculed UFO reports. Then, within a span of just a few years, the same institutions began releasing authenticated videos, military testimonies, and official acknowledgments. This dramatic reversal suggests that disclosure isn't happening by accident. It's being carefully orchestrated to prepare humanity for something unprecedented. The timing correlates with accelerating contact experiences worldwide. Indigenous communities report increasing visitations from what they call star people. Meditation groups document group sightings during spiritual gatherings. Children born after the year 2000 display unusual psychic abilities and speak naturally about communication with non-human intelligences. This convergence suggests that disclosure represents the opening phase of humanity's preparation for open contact. The gradual release of information allows our collective consciousness to slowly adjust to realities that would have caused panic or disbelief if revealed suddenly decades ago. The consciousness shift accompanying disclosure manifests in multiple ways. Scientific materialism, which has dominated human thinking for centuries, is giving way to more holistic understandings that integrate consciousness as a fundamental aspect of reality. Quantum physics demonstrates that observation affects outcomes, suggesting that consciousness and matter interact in ways that traditional science has long denied. Spirituality is evolving beyond religious dogma toward direct experience of cosmic consciousness. People worldwide report spontaneous spiritual awakenings, mystical experiences, and expanded psychic abilities. These phenomena increase exponentially each year, indicating that human consciousness itself is undergoing rapid transformation. The disclosure process also prepares humanity psychologically for paradigm shifts that contact will inevitably bring. Our understanding of evolution, human origins, consciousness, and our place in the universe will require complete revision once open contact occurs. Gradual disclosure allows these adjustments to happen organically rather than through traumatic shock. Government agencies involved in disclosure consistently emphasize that these phenomena don't represent threats to national security. This framing is significant because it prepares public consciousness to view contact as potentially beneficial rather than hostile. Fear-based reactions would close human hearts to the spiritual opportunities that contact represents. The timing of disclosure also corresponds with humanity's approach to evolutionary crossroads. Nuclear weapons, environmental destruction, and social chaos have brought our species to a point where we must either evolve spiritually or face extinction. Contact with advanced spiritual intelligences offers guidance precisely when we need it most. Religious institutions worldwide are grappling with disclosure's implications for traditional theology. Progressive leaders recognize that discovering intelligent life beyond Earth expands rather than threatens spiritual understanding. The Vatican's openness to extraterrestrial life reflects this evolving perspective among faith communities. The acceleration of disclosure suggests that full revelation may occur sooner than most people expect. Each release of information prepares collective consciousness for greater truths, building momentum toward eventual acknowledgement of ongoing contact with spiritually advanced civilizations. Disclosure isn't just about admitting UFOs are real. It's about preparing us for a new chapter in human spiritual evolution, where our species joins a galactic community of beings who have learned to live as expressions of cosmic consciousness. Chapter 8: The Contact Experience. Barbara Lamb, a psychotherapist specializing in contact experiences, has counseled over 3,000 individuals who report encounters with non-human intelligence. Despite the vast diversity in their backgrounds, cultures, and belief systems, their accounts reveal remarkably consistent patterns that suggest contact follows predictable protocols designed to facilitate consciousness expansion. The experience typically begins with altered awareness. Experiencers report sudden shifts in their perception of time and space, often accompanied by unusual electromagnetic effects. Electronics malfunction, animals become agitated, and the atmosphere itself seems to change quality, becoming charged with an almost tangible presence. Initial contact usually occurs through telepathic communication rather than spoken words. Experiencers describe receiving information directly into their consciousness, not as thoughts they're thinking, but as knowing that arrives fully formed from an external source. This communication transcends language barriers and operates through pure understanding that bypasses the limitations of verbal expression. The beings themselves appear in forms that seem tailored to each experiencer's capacity for integration. Some report classic gray entities with large eyes and small bodies. Others encounter beings of pure light, geometric forms, or human-like figures with ethereal qualities. The common thread isn't physical appearance, but the quality of consciousness these beings radiate: profound love, ancient wisdom, and complete acceptance. Time distortion represents one of the most consistent aspects of contact experiences. What feels like hours of interaction often occurs within minutes of conventional time, or conversely, brief encounters may result in hours of missing time. This suggests that contact occurs in dimensional spaces where time operates according to different laws than those governing physical reality. The content of contact communications focuses consistently on spiritual evolution and consciousness expansion. Beings share information about the nature of reality that emphasizes consciousness as fundamental, matter as malleable, and love as the organizing principle of the universe. They provide insights into human potential that far exceed current scientific understanding. Experiencers frequently receive downloads of information that surpass their normal intellectual capacity. Complex scientific concepts, spiritual teachings, and cosmic histories arrive as complete understanding rather than sequential learning. This suggests that contact involves direct consciousness-to-consciousness transmission that bypasses normal cognitive processes. Physical sensations during contact often include feelings of weightlessness, energy flowing through the body, and awareness extending beyond normal bodily boundaries. Some experiencers report out-of-body experiences where their consciousness travels to other locations or dimensions while their physical body remains stationary. The healing component of contact experiences affects multiple levels simultaneously. Physical ailments may resolve instantly, emotional traumas dissolve, and psychological limitations disappear. This healing appears to result from the being's ability to work directly with the consciousness patterns that underlie all manifestation. Integration challenges follow most profound contact experiences. Experiencers must reconcile expanded awareness with consensus reality, often struggling to function in a world that doesn't acknowledge the validity of their encounters. Many report feeling like aliens themselves, no longer fitting comfortably into mainstream society. The transformative effects of contact typically unfold over years rather than occurring instantly. Experiencers develop enhanced psychic abilities, expanded compassion, and deeper spiritual understanding. Their values shift from material success towards service. Their relationships deepen, and their connection to nature intensifies. Contact experiences also frequently involve life purpose clarification. Beings may communicate specific missions or roles that experiencers are meant to fulfill, often involving helping humanity navigate its current evolutionary transition. This sense of cosmic purpose becomes a driving force in transformed lives. The phenomenology of contact suggests that these experiences represent carefully orchestrated consciousness expansions designed to prepare individual humans for broader species evolution. Each contact serves both personal transformation and collective awakening, contributing to humanity's preparation for open acknowledgement of cosmic citizenship. Contact isn't something that happens to you. It's something that awakens within you, revealing capacities and connections that have always existed but remain dormant until consciousness reaches sufficient receptivity to access interdimensional communication. Chapter 9. The Resistance and the Revelation. Dr. Stephen Greer stood before a packed auditorium of scientists, military officials, and researchers, presenting evidence of extraterrestrial contact that most attendees found impossible to accept. Despite compelling testimony from credible witnesses, physical evidence, and documented phenomena, the resistance in the room was palpable. The greatest barrier to understanding UFO phenomena isn't lack of evidence. It's humanity's fear of paradigm change. This resistance operates on multiple levels, from institutional denial to personal psychological defense mechanisms. Scientific materialism, which has dominated human thinking for centuries, simply cannot accommodate the reality of consciousness-based technologies or interdimensional beings. To acknowledge contact would require abandoning fundamental assumptions about the nature of reality that underpin entire worldviews. Religious institutions face parallel challenges. Traditional theology struggles to integrate the possibility that divine beings might manifest through what appears to be advanced technology. Many believers fear that acknowledging extraterrestrial contact would undermine faith in established religious teachings, not recognizing that contact experiences often deepen rather than diminish spiritual understanding. The fear extends beyond intellectual challenges to existential terror. Contact with advanced spiritual beings forces recognition of humanity's relative immaturity and spiritual limitations. This comparison can trigger profound inadequacy, making denial preferable to facing the gap between human potential and current achievement. Military and intelligence agencies maintain resistance for reasons of control and secrecy. Acknowledging contact would necessitate admitting that conventional weapons and defense systems are useless against beings who possess consciousness-based technologies. This recognition would fundamentally alter power structures and challenge the entire military-industrial complex. Economic interests also drive resistance. Many industries would become obsolete if consciousness-based technologies became available. Energy companies, pharmaceutical corporations, and manufacturing industries built on scarcity models would face extinction if humanity gained access to technologies that create abundance through consciousness rather than exploitation of resources. Media coverage reflects and reinforces these resistance patterns. UFO encounters are typically presented as entertainment, debunked as misidentification, or sensationalized to the point of ridicule. Serious investigation is rare, and witnesses who come forward often face professional suicide and social ostracism. Personal resistance patterns mirror collective denial. Individuals who encounter compelling evidence of contact often experience cognitive dissonance that triggers psychological defense mechanisms. Rather than integrate information that challenges core beliefs, many people prefer to dismiss or rationalize away evidence that doesn't fit their existing worldview. Fear-based contact experiences differ fundamentally from love-based encounters. When individuals approach the possibility of contact from fear, they tend to attract experiences that reflect their emotional state. Fear creates vibrational frequencies that can attract lower-level entities or generate terrifying projections of unconscious content. Conversely, love-based contact occurs when individuals approach with open hearts and sincere spiritual intent. These encounters consistently involve beings of light who radiate unconditional love and provide healing, wisdom, and guidance. The quality of the experiencer's consciousness directly influences the nature of contact received. Building discernment requires developing the ability to distinguish between authentic spiritual contact and various forms of deception or self-delusion. True contact always emphasizes love, free will, and personal responsibility. False contact typically involves fear, dependency, or the abdication of personal power to external authorities. The revelation breaking through resistance patterns worldwide suggests that humanity has reached a threshold where contact can no longer be hidden or denied. Too many credible witnesses have come forward, too much evidence has accumulated, and too many people have experienced direct contact for the truth to remain suppressed indefinitely. Progressive scientists are beginning to acknowledge that consciousness may be fundamental to reality rather than a byproduct of brain chemistry. Quantum physics demonstrates that observation affects outcomes, suggesting that consciousness and matter interact in ways that support the possibility of consciousness-based technologies. Religious leaders are evolving beyond fundamentalist interpretations toward mystical understandings that embrace the possibility of divine manifestation through advanced technology. The Vatican's acknowledgement that discovering extraterrestrial life would expand rather than challenge Catholic theology reflects this growing openness. The resistance is weakening as evidence accumulates and consciousness evolves. Each authentic contact experience contributes to collective awakening, making it increasingly difficult for denial to maintain its grip on human awareness. Fear closes the door to contact while love opens it wide, revealing that the universe is populated by intelligences who view humanity with profound compassion and stand ready to assist our evolution toward cosmic consciousness when we become ready to receive their guidance. Chapter 10. Your role in the cosmic plan. Maria Santos had never considered herself particularly spiritual. As a software engineer in Sao Paulo, she lived a rational, technology-focused life until the night everything changed. During a solo meditation retreat in the mountains, something extraordinary occurred that revealed her role in humanity's greatest transformation. As Maria sat quietly under the stars, practicing breathing techniques she'd learned from a smartphone app, a profound presence made itself known. Without words, she understood that consciousness itself was the technology that would bridge humanity into cosmic citizenship. Her technical background in programming suddenly revealed new applications, not for machines, but for the quantum field of awareness that connects all life. Contact isn't reserved for a chosen few or limited to dramatic encounters involving spacecraft and missing time. The most profound connections often occur during quiet moments when consciousness becomes receptive to influences beyond ordinary awareness. Your capacity for contact already exists within you, awaiting development through sincere spiritual practice. Developing spiritual receptivity begins with understanding that consciousness operates like any technology. It requires proper preparation, practice, and refinement to function optimally. Just as Maria's programming skills prepared her to understand consciousness as a system with protocols and interfaces, your unique background provides exactly the foundation needed for your role in cosmic communication. Meditation forms the cornerstone of contact preparation, but not necessarily the formal sitting practices taught in traditional schools. Any activity that quiets mental chatter and expands awareness can serve as meditation. Walking in nature, creative expression, prayer, or even focused work can create states conducive to interdimensional communication. The key lies in developing what contactees call cosmic consciousness, awareness that transcends identification with the physical body and recognizes its connection to universal intelligence. This expanded awareness naturally attracts contact with beings who operate from similar consciousness levels. Prayer serves as perhaps the most accessible contact protocol available to humans. When approached with genuine spiritual intent rather than desperate pleading, prayer creates vibrational frequencies that resonate with higher dimensional beings. The prayer that saved Chris Bledsoe's life demonstrates how sincere communication with divine intelligence can trigger miraculous intervention. Creating conditions conducive to peaceful contact involves both internal and external preparation. Internally, cultivating love, compassion, and fearlessness creates the emotional climate that attracts benevolent encounters. Fear-based consciousness tends to attract lower-level entities or create frightening projections, while love-based awareness draws contact with spiritually advanced beings. External conditions that support contact include spending time in nature, particularly areas with minimal electromagnetic interference from technology. Many contactees report enhanced phenomena in locations with natural energy vortexes, near bodies of water, or in remote areas away from urban electromagnetic pollution. Maintaining a contact journal helps document subtle experiences that might otherwise be dismissed or forgotten. Initial contact often occurs through dreams, synchronicities, unusual animal behavior, or subtle shifts in awareness that seem insignificant until patterns emerge over time. Developing discernment becomes crucial as contact abilities strengthen. Authentic spiritual contact always emphasizes love, wisdom, and personal empowerment while respecting free will completely. Any contact that generates fear, dependency, or demands for worship should be immediately rejected as inauthentic. Your role as a bridge between worlds extends beyond personal contact experiences. Each individual who develops cosmic consciousness contributes to humanity's collective awakening, making it easier for others to access expanded awareness. You become an anchor point for higher frequencies that gradually transform the consciousness of everyone you encounter. The specific nature of your cosmic role will emerge naturally as your awareness expands. Some individuals serve as healers, others as teachers, communicators, or frequency holders who simply maintain higher vibrational states in their communities. Trust that your unique gifts and circumstances position you perfectly for your intended contribution. Group contact experiences often provide more powerful and sustained connection than individual encounters. Joining or forming meditation groups focused on cosmic communication can accelerate development while providing mutual support and validation for experiences that mainstream society doesn't yet acknowledge. Technology can support contact development when used consciously. Binaural beats, frequency generators, and meditation apps can help achieve the brainwave states associated with expanded awareness. However, technology should supplement rather than replace the internal development that makes authentic contact possible. The acceleration of contact experiences worldwide indicates that humanity approaches a threshold where open communication with cosmic intelligence will become undeniable. Your preparation now contributes to humanity's readiness for this unprecedented event in our species' history. You are not a passive observer of cosmic contact. You are an active participant in humanity's spiritual evolution, possessing unique gifts and perspectives that contribute essential elements to our species' transformation into cosmic consciousness. The evidence we've explored throughout this journey paints a picture so extraordinary that it challenges everything our civilization believes about reality, consciousness, and our place in the universe. Yet the conclusion is inescapable. We are not alone, and the intelligence reaching out to humanity comes not as conquerors from distant planets, but as spiritual guides from dimensions beyond our current understanding. From Chris Bledsoe's miraculous healing along the Cape Fear River to the thousands of documented contact experiences worldwide, a consistent pattern emerges. These encounters represent humanity's most profound spiritual awakening, not random events, but carefully orchestrated contact designed to guide our species toward the next stage of consciousness evolution. The line between angels and aliens dissolves completely when we understand interdimensional reality. The same loving intelligence that our ancestors called messengers of God continues to reach out through whatever forms our evolving consciousness can perceive and integrate. Whether manifesting as beings of light, advanced extraterrestrials, or spiritual entities, the message remains constant. Humanity is loved, guided, and supported in its journey toward cosmic consciousness. Government disclosure of UFO phenomena represents far more than acknowledgement of advanced technology in our skies. It marks the beginning of humanity's preparation for open contact with civilizations that have successfully integrated spiritual wisdom with technological advancement. This disclosure unfolds gradually, allowing our collective consciousness to adjust to realities that would have caused chaos if revealed suddenly. The healing capabilities demonstrated through contact experiences reveal human potential that extends far beyond current medical understanding. When consciousness operates as the primary technology, miraculous recovery becomes possible because awareness directly interfaces with the quantum field underlying all physical manifestation. Personal transformation through contact is available to all sincere seekers who approach with love rather than fear, with spiritual intent rather than curiosity. The cosmos responds to consciousness, and those who develop cosmic awareness naturally attract guidance from beings who have mastered the integration of love and wisdom. The resistance to acknowledging contact experiences reflects humanity's fear of paradigm change rather than lack of evidence. Yet this resistance weakens daily as more individuals experience direct contact and recognize that these encounters offer the greatest gift our species could receive: guidance toward a future of peace, abundance, and cosmic citizenship. Humanity stands at the threshold of the greatest awakening in our recorded history. The same intelligence that has guided human spiritual evolution for millennia now manifests through forms our technological age can comprehend. UFO phenomena represent the cosmic university coming to Earth, offering advanced curriculum in consciousness, healing, and technologies that operate through love rather than exploitation. Your role in this transformation is not optional. It's the reason you incarnated during this extraordinary time in human history. Each individual who opens to cosmic consciousness contributes to humanity's collective awakening, making it increasingly possible for our species to qualify for membership in the galactic community of evolved beings. The journey toward cosmic consciousness begins with recognizing that separation is illusion, that consciousness is fundamental, and that love is the organizing principle of the universe. These beings of light have mastered these truths and stand ready to assist humanity's evolution when we become ready to receive their guidance. Begin your own journey of cosmic consciousness today. Open your mind to possibilities beyond current scientific paradigms. Expand your heart to encompass love for all life. Prepare to receive the greatest truth our species has ever encountered. We are beloved children of a vast, intelligent, and benevolent universe. The evidence is overwhelming, the guidance is available, and the transformation awaits. Contact experiences represent not extraterrestrial invasion, but spiritual evolution, offering humanity the opportunity to transcend our current limitations and join the cosmic community as conscious participants in the greatest adventure possible, the exploration of infinite consciousness itself. Thank you for joining us on this extraordinary exploration of extraterrestrial contact as spiritual awakening. The journey we've shared challenges conventional thinking while opening doorways to the most profound truths our species has ever encountered. If this audiobook has expanded your understanding and opened new possibilities for your own spiritual evolution, please subscribe to Audiobook's library. We're committed to bringing you consciousness-expanding content that bridges ancient wisdom with emerging realities. Until then, keep your eyes on the skies and your heart open to infinite possibilities. The greatest adventure in human history is just beginning, and you're an essential participant in humanity's transformation into cosmic consciousness. The universe is vast, intelligent, and filled with beings who love you beyond measure. Contact is not a future possibility. It's a present reality awaiting your recognition and embrace.